And so let's talk about the 8th anniversary. So over the last 2 or so weeks, we've been talking about a lot on what the characters could potentially be. Right now, I feel like the main predictions are Ginjo, Ichigo, White, Ishin. Some people are saying Yuha, some people are saying Rukia, Grimmjow, Uryu again. Some people are even saying Kenpachi. There's a lot of names being thrown around for this particular upcoming 8th anniversary. And in my opinion, while I do have a main prediction, that being Ishin and also White, I'm still not 100% set on it. It generally could go either way, but instead of focusing on who the character will be for the 8th anniversary, let's talk about what the character will be in terms of attribute and maybe even killer effects. Because that's also important, right? We all know the upcoming anniversary characters will be amazing. We know they're going to be some of the best characters in the game, but the big question is going to be, will you need them? If the upcoming anniversary character is an attribute that's already stacked to the brim, then you're probably going to be less excited. Still probably go for the characters, but in terms of needing it, if you don't need the character, then the reason to pull might be lower. And Caleb, as of late, have been doing a pretty good job of giving us what we need in terms of just new powerful characters in a certain attribute, to the point where we can potentially predict what attributes the character will be for the upcoming anniversary. Just to give some few examples. Now again, this is just speculation, right? Keep that in mind. But if we go back to 2 years ago for the 6th anniversary, I vividly remember calling that the anniversary character will be a technique character and also a heart character, because Caleb is smart. They're gonna give us some really cool looking and powerful characters, but they know to make them sell more, they're going to give us the characters an attribute that needs to be fulfilled. At this time before the 6th anniversary, heart characters were kinda in a bad position. Same goes for technique. Realistically, there was no really good character in their given attributes. So going into the 6th anniversary, we were expecting a new heart character. We were expecting a new technique character, and we got that with the 6th anniversary, our pick Ichigo, and also this particular anniversary Aizen. Now, at the time, we were expecting to get a Hearts Holo Killer, and it's kind of funny that only finally happened like a year and a half later, so sometimes Caleb don't give us exactly what we did need. It was a massive surprise to see Aizen be a Super Captain Killer, but once more, at the time, we did need a new technique character that was just overpowered, and we got that with this Upper Ichigo being a Super Killer and also no affiliation killer. And that's usually part 1 of the banner. Usually part 1, the premium anniversary characters, they give us the characters and attribute that need that extra power creep, right? When it comes to part 2, it's always hit or miss. Sometimes they're just random attributes. Sometimes they can be all attributes covered. If we look at 4th anniversary, for example, it was heart, mind, speed, mind, and heart. 5th anniversary was power, speed, tech, speed, and power. 6th anniversary was heart, tech, mind, speed, and heart. And then last year, 7th anniversary, it's one of the only few examples where every attribute was covered. We had a mind, speed, tech, power, and also heart character. And preferably, I kind of like it they do it that way. It means every attribute's covered for the most part, and every attribute gets to use a new, shiny, powerful character, potentially allowing all the attributes to get better in that sense. So it's going to be hard to predict what part 2 could potentially be, because again, there's no pattern, right? It could be anything. There could be relapse in attributes. Each individual character could be a different attribute. It's really hard to say. I guess one thing we can predict for the most part is that part 2 will feature a brave battle character. That's kind of happened every year now. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th have all featured a Brave Battle character, and part 2 is likely going to feature that Brave Battle character. And I kind of don't want that to happen this year, I'm not going to lie. Brave Battles is kind of in a good position right now. I wouldn't mind getting a new Brave Battle character, but for an anniversary, I'd rather all 5 characters just be SP based or normal attack damage based and be just really good in what they want to be used in. Having another Brave Battle character would be kind of like, it's not as cool as it used to be, right? Especially because this upcoming part 2 banner could potentially be a 1000-year Blood War banner, and we've waited so long for a new 1000-year Blood War banner. So for one of those characters to end up being a Brave Battle character, if it's their first time in the game, let's say as not Kyoge or whoever it could be in part 2, that's going to be a tad bit disappointing, I will say. But continuing on the trend which I was talking about, going into the 7th anniversary, again, we predicted it was going to be a speed and also a mind character. The reason for it, if you look at Outsilis, if we look at just the state of the game when it comes to the current attributes, mind was lacking. Mind needed a new good character, and they got that with Ichigo. At the same time, speed was desperately lacking a really good speed character, and we got that with Uryu, and it wasn't really a surprise to most of us when Uryu also ended up being an Aaroniero killer. At the time of Uryu releasing, there wasn't that many good speed Aaroniero killers, the only recent character being Azashiro, for example. Prior to that, it was Basby. And it's for that reason why Uryu was an exciting character. And there's a reason why a lot of people pulled for him, because he was a really good speed character with the Aaroniero kill ability. So using these past examples, can we predict what the upcoming anniversary character will be? And I'll say right from the get-go, in my opinion, the upcoming 2 8th anniversary characters are going to be Power and also minds. Those are the two attributes I expect to see for the upcoming anniversary, because again, once more, we're kind of in that position again. If Caleb want to make the most out of these upcoming anniversary characters, they probably want them to be those two particular attributes. Because right now, if we look at the Technique attribute, I think Technique is in a really good position. Obviously, we do have Quincy Ichigo. We also have Gin when it comes to farming content. We have this Aizen if you want to use a non-attack damage character. Retsu still amazing. Arpic still holds up. And of course, we also have Toshiro. Technique is in the best it's ever been. I don't think we need to get another Technique character unless the upcoming character is going to be another farming character to the likes of Tensor and also Rangiku. When it just comes to a really powerful character though, that isn't a farmer, I think Technique, for the time being, is kind of sorted. When it comes to the Heart attribute, once more, they're kind of in a decent position right now. 6th Anniversary Aizen still holds up exceptionally well. Yoruichi's still an amazing character. They have access to 1000 Year Blood with Ichigo, now Bruno, to a certain extent Kaname, and even Rangiku. Heart, once more, really good position. They don't need a new farmer. They don't need a new overpowered anniversary character. They've already received it. Heart is in a good position. When it comes to power, though, let's be honest, there isn't really that many good characters. And that's why I do believe this upcoming anniversary character will be a power character, because anytime I'm going into content when I'm using a power character, for example, usually I like to meet the requirements, use a character with Killer, and most of the time I just end up bringing 1000 Year Blood War Yamamoto, because realistically he's the only really good power character that you can use in any piece of content. And I'll be honest, he's still an amazing character, he's still an SS tier character. When it comes to strong attack damage though, he is starting to fall behind compared to some of these newer characters with Frenzy +2, a high Berserker value, and the SP boost. This character only has an SP boost, a Berserker value, and Frenzy +1. 8th Anniversary, new anniversary characters usually are very powerful and introduce a potential new meta, and right now power is lacking those options. You have Yamamoto, Kenpachi, Mayuri, and also I guess this Nelio, for example, but none of them are like super OP. And I guess it's not even that too, it's more so just options. Power lacks options. Again, I only just strictly use Yamamoto, and I would love to bring someone else instead. So I don't think power is in a bad position, but I do believe they need a new anniversary level character, and I could see that being this upcoming 8th anniversary. When it comes to speed, I think they're in a pretty decent position. Definitely could be better, but not bad by any means. They have access to characters like Uryu, he's still amazing, Okiura, for example, Tensor, Macy, and even Mila Rose. So speed is also in a really good position. I don't think we need a speed anniversary character. And then once more, that leads us into the mind attribute. While it's true we did get Ichigo last year for the mind attribute because they were lacking, we're still in the same position. Mind is still lacking. We need a new mind character. Balgo was exciting for that main reason. He's a good character, good damage output, great survivability, and he's also a farmer. Balgo is a great character. You can even nuke with him in guild quests. He's my favorite mind character in the entire game, but again, they're lacking. Compare the mind attribute to the technique attribute, to the speed attribute, to the heart attribute. You don't really have that many other good options. 7th Anniversary Ichigo, for example, was a good character, but he's held back by that pretty bad SA1. So just going by those few attributes, considering the fact that I have been correct in the attributes they have been doing for the past 2 years, again, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be right this year again, but I think the 2 likely attributes to get the upcoming anniversary treatment for part 1, more specifically, I think it is going to be power, and I think it is going to be mind. Those are the 2 attributes that desperately need a new, powerful anniversary character to bring this attribute to the other attributes, for example. Now, with that said, assuming those are the attributes, what killers do we need? Now, I think Yamamoto's still a great character. He covers Quincy and also Hollow. I guess Nelio covers no affiliation, and Mayuri kinda covers Aranka. I do believe we do need a new Serpent killer, and maybe even an Aranka killer. Mayuri's still good, but he's mainly there for his nuke damage. If the upcoming anniversary character is power and they have Sopa and also a Ranky killer, that's going to be a really good set of killers. And I'm not really too focused on the killer they could potentially get. They could get anything and I wouldn't mind it. As long as the character is good, has good set of strong attacks, really powerful skills, the killer could care less about, in my opinion. As long as they're not a hollow character, therefore competing with Yamamoto, I'm fine with whatever they do get. We're kind of in the same situation when it comes to the mind attribute once more. As of right now, 7th Anniversary Ichigo is a Sopa and also a Ranky killer. Bargo is Quincy and also human. So there's definitely a large amount of killers that we could get here for the, mind character if it's an anniversary character. Could, again, be another Serpent killer. Could be a Ranka, Hollow. It could be anything, really. I think Mind just needs a really good character regardless of the killer effect they do have. At the same time, whether this is part 1 or also part 2, at least when it comes to guild quest content, one thing we are lacking right now is a Captain Killer Nuker. When it comes to guild quests, every attribute is almost covered for a really good nuker that can just use their soul bomb and go through all 5 waves very easily. The only killer that doesn't have that is the Captain Killer. So I wouldn't also be surprised if part 1 of the anniversary, the power or mind character, assuming those are the attributes, they will be a Captain Killer. Maybe Captain Soper, for example. If they give them bombardment, weakening, and also potential SP boost, then that's going to be the nuker that we desperately need for the Captain Guild quest. Because me and a large majority of those Guild quest players usually just use characters like 1000 Year Blood or Yamamoto, for example, because there's no other good option to nuke in this particular week. We technically have access to this particular Yuha, but he's outdated. It takes a lot of resets, a lot of requirement, a lot of build up. It's not on the same level of nuking with this particular Yamamoto, for example, where he makes quick work of that particular Guild quest, both Hollow Weeks and also Quincy. But that essentially covers us for part 1. Let's have a look at the potential chance of part 2 characters, right? So maybe if they do what they did last year and have every attribute covered, maybe part 2 is going to be a speed, heart, and also technique character. Now, assuming one of them is going to be a brave battle character, the last character we did get that was brave battle orientated was Ishin. Well, it was the Ishin character, so maybe they'd want to do a speed character, but we kind of just got Sergeant. I think it's been a minute since we received a technique brave battle character. Do we need one? I don't think so. And that's why I'm kind of hoping this year is the year to break away from the brave battle character in part 2. I don't think we need it this year. But again, as we've already mentioned, technique is quite stacked. They could go for more characters, and I'd gladly take a new technique character because I don't have most of the OP ones. But they are already quite stacked, so maybe Caleb want to give the brave battle character to a technique attribute, the attribute that already has a great set of characters. You know, if the one mind or power character for this upcoming anniversary ends up being a brave battle character, that would be kind of annoying because those attributes need really good characters. Technique, not so much. When it comes to the heart attribute, again, they could go for a new character here. Just an overall strong character. Doesn't need to be a farmer, just needs to be someone good. Maybe a killer that isn't already fulfilled. Soper killer, for example. As of right now, the best Soper killer for the most part is actually Aizen. He's 2 years old at this point. Could go for a new Soper killer. Wouldn't mind that. Could be Asnot, for example. When it comes to the speed attribute, hypothetically, if we do get a new character, what killers would need to be fulfilled? Macy kind of covers us for no affiliation. Tensa is a Soper killer. Oryu has a Ronka. Okura has a Spada. So again, in the speed attribute, we're also kind of stacked when it comes to every particular killer. So when it comes to this upcoming speed character, if we do get one, it could be any killer, and I don't think it really matters that much. Hypothetically, just throwing it out there, maybe if we do get a Captain Nuker, it's going to be in part 2. They're only going to have Captain Killer, hoping that's not the case. And maybe it's someone like Asnot, for example, and the reason why they were giving Captain Killer is because, of course, they fight against Byakuya in the anime. I don't think that'll happen, though. I just want to throw it out there. But I do believe whatever character does get the Captain Killer, they should probably have a second killer. Now, luckily, what we did see last year in Yamamoto's case is that obviously part 1 always has the 2 killers. That's the standard with the anniversary characters. But I guess in Yamamoto's case, he's a rare example of a character getting 2 killers when usually they don't. Part 2 of the anniversary doesn't always get 2 killers. Yamamoto's the only example of that. But we did see also at the end of the year, Sergeant and also Toshiro got 2 killers, which again really doesn't happen that often. So maybe part 2 will have a 2 killer character, and hopefully one of them is Captain Killer, because I really don't want to see one character get 1 killer and it be Captain. I want a new Captain Nuker in Guild Quests, but I don't want the Captain Nuking to be their only usage. I want them to be really good while also being a really good Captain Nuker. And that's kind of what we have here with this Yamamoto. Really good character, also doubles down as a really good nuke for the Hollow and also Quincy Guild Quests. With that said, I think that's all we had to talk about today, just going over the potential attributes. I know I kind of rambled down there, but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the upcoming anniversary, right? There's a lot of things to think about, but overall, I feel like the upcoming anniversary part 1, most importantly, is going to be a power and also mind character. Those are the 2 attributes that need the support the most, and I think if those upcoming characters are given those attributes, I have more reason to pull for them if that kind of makes sense. Again, Caleb usually do a good job at giving us what we need for the part 1 of the anniversary. Last year, we needed a mind and speed character. We got that. The year prior, we needed a heart and technique character. We got that. And this year, once more, I believe we need a new power and also mind character. Hopefully this time, they actually do a good job with the mind character, because Anniversary Ichigo, while he's still a great character, you know, has his problems. In the comments below, though, let me know what you guys want to see for the upcoming anniversary. What attributes do you want to see? What killers, for example? I'm curious to know, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.